This time, a sharp gleam flashed in his eyes as he fixedly stared at the sword Qi, taking a deep breath. The yellow spring transformed by the Tao concept does possess some divine power, but it's only in its embryonic form. The deterrent power is insufficient. However, this sword Qi is strong, extremely strong. Whoever can unleash this sword Qi must be an unparalleled master, their cultivation level likely having reached the 3 realms of shattered nirvana. Wang Lin unleashed his 2 greatest techniques, Tao Transformation Yellow Spring and the Ling Tiano Sword Qi. His purpose was not to battle this person, but to intimidate. At this moment, Wang Lin had regained his composure. The madness brought on by the ascension fruit had been suppressed, and his mind was clear again. The old man before him was no one he could deal with, let alone that mysterious presence within the Black Pagoda. The black-armored elder withdrew his gaze from the sword Qi and looked at Wang Lin, falling silent. The surroundings became eerily quiet, with only the sound of the yellow spring in the sky flowing, which gradually turned into ripples. Suddenly, a vast divine sense burst out from the tower behind the black-armored elder. "Where did you learn that palm seal?" The divine sense turned into a thunderous roar, echoing through the air. At the moment the voice appeared, the earth cracked with a loud bang, but it stopped just 10 paces in front of Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes narrowed. He remembered, this was the very sound that had caused him to suffer grave injuries countless times on this journey. Had it not been for the annihilation and slaughter Qi, he would have long been dead. From the immortal realm, Wang Lin spoke in a deep voice. The immortal realm. Indeed, he did visit the immortal realm back then. The massive divine sense murmured to itself. Wang Lin took a step back. No longer influenced by the ascension fruit, he had calmed down but still broke out in a cold sweat. Capture him, alive. After the divine sense spoke again, it retreated back into the tower and disappeared. Without hesitation, the black-armored elder leapt into the air like a flash of lightning, heading straight for Wang Lin. With his peak cultivation at the late stage of the ascendant realm, he floated in midair, making a hand seal and shouting in a low voice, "Wind." The moment the word was spoken, a hurricane suddenly materialized in the air. The earth beneath it cracked into pieces, with countless rocks being swept up, heading straight for Wang Lin. Wang Lin's expression darkened. He took several steps back and pointed to the sky. The Tao Transformation Yellow Spring poured down from above, like the Yellow River, sweeping toward the oncoming hurricane. As the windstorm charged forward, it was immediately blocked by the Yellow Spring, and under the power of the cycle of life and death, it was pulled into the Yellow Spring. You've already developed your own Tao at such a young age. Truly impressive. The black-armored elder spoke indifferently, making another hand seal, pointing toward the sky. "Thunder!" The elder shouted, and the sky suddenly darkened, thick clouds forming in an oppressive mass. These clouds resembled ugly demonic faces. As soon as the word thunder was spoken, the heavens rumbled. A gap opened in the dark clouds, and a bolt of black lightning shot down with an earth-shattering roar, charging toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's expression shifted. Without hesitation, he raised his left pinky, his eyes locked onto the roaring lightning, and extended his finger. One finger of Yellow Spring. This lightning-based divine art was not something Wang Lin could afford to take lightly. He had once heard from Situn and that among cultivators, lightning techniques were the hardest to master. Without immense divine abilities, one could never learn them. Because thunder, that was the might of the heavens, a force that mere mortals could never wield. With a single finger, the Yellow Spring surged. The entire river suddenly moved in response to Wang Lin's gesture. With a mighty wave, the Yellow Spring began to coil, carrying the power of reincarnation, and it rushed toward the black lightning in the sky. A thunderous explosion resounded throughout the heavens and earth as the Yellow Spring began to collapse. But the black lightning also dissipated quickly, and after a third of the Yellow Spring collapsed, the thunder vanished. "Not bad. Your Tao is indeed impressive." The black-armored elder sneered coldly. With a flick of his hand, he shouted, "Rain." The dark clouds in the sky suddenly contracted, and in an instant, black raindrops began to fall, resembling arrows shooting down from the heavens, heading straight for Wang Lin. The late stage of Ascendant Realm, indeed, this is beyond my ability to resist. But if you want to kill me, it won't be that easy. Wang Lin's eyes flashed. He took a step forward, directly stepping into the Yellow Spring. Entering the Yellow Spring, he became one with it. He was the Tao, he was the Yellow Spring. The Yellow Spring, which had already collapsed by a third, surged as Wang Lin stepped in. In the blink of an eye, it transformed into a golden dragon. Wang Lin stood at the head of the dragon. With a roar, the Yellow Spring's voice echoed through the heavens. It was Wang Lin's reverse cultivation Tao, the voice of his own call to the heavens. As the roar resounded, the black rain from the sky immediately faltered, shattering into wisps of black mist, disappearing into the air. In an instant, the entire sky was filled with swirling black energy. Not bad. A transformation of your Tao concept. But sadly, in my eyes, your Tao is no match for mine. I have no Tao, but this armor of mine, it has its own Tao. The elder remained calm, sneering as he extended both hands. His body soared into the air, and he bellowed, "Wind." The wild wind rose again, howling as it swept across the sky, transforming into a massive vortex. This was the vortex of wind, and its appearance caused the dark clouds above to be immediately sucked into its core. "Rain." The elder shouted once more. With each word, drops of black rain emerged from the vortex. Each raindrop was condensed demonic chi, packed with immense power. "Thunder." A thunderous roar echoed through the sky. A bolt of black lightning appeared within the dark clouds, and as soon as it struck, countless black flashes of lightning darted through the surrounding raindrops, as if they were all connected by an electric web, spreading densely across the sky. Electricity. The elder's voice seemed to overpower the sound of thunder. The black lightning, raindrops, and even the vortex itself now descended toward the earth at lightning speed. Wang Lin looked up. This battle would be the pinnacle of his life. Never before had he faced such a challenge. From the early stage of ascendancy to the later stages, unless something truly defied the heavens happened, defeat was inevitable. Wang Lin was keenly aware of this fact because he possessed something that could defy the heavens. The sword chi of Ling Tianhe was that very object that could defy the heavens. Wang Lin slapped his storage pouch, and the soul banner appeared. 100 million souls rushed out wildly, but instead of soaring into the sky, they quickly merged into the yellow springs below. 10,000 souls, each fused into the yellow springs. With the stimulation of the ascension fruit, I can transmute the yellow springs into a Tao of the underworld. Now that I am awake, I can also condense the spring soul. 100 million souls merged into the yellow springs, condensing into one. This soul became the soul of the yellow springs. Now, with the soul within the yellow springs, as the storm of wind, rain, and thunder approached, the yellow springs suddenly surged, shaking the earth. Wang Lin's essence spirit expanded, and his Tao concept merged into it. At that moment, his essence spirit let out a low growl, and the yellow springs rose from the ground as if alive. With the soul inside, the yellow springs surged upward like a yellow dragon, roaring as it sought to devour the wind, rain, and thunder. At the same time, 130,000 killing intents shot out from Wang Lin's forehead, merging into the yellow dragon. In that instant, the yellow springs exuded a killing aura. This was the true yellow springs of Wang Lin, containing 130,000 killing intents, 100 million powerful souls, in the Tao of his life. All of these elements fused together and surged forward, heading straight for the elder's incoming divine art. This was the battle of the pinnacle. The black lightning howled, the raindrops crackled with electricity, and the wind vortex added its might, colliding directly with the yellow springs. At this moment, the sky and earth trembled, with deafening thunderclaps echoing through the heavens. The ground shook violently, with cracks appearing everywhere. The entire ancient battleground seemed to be torn open, and the sky above appeared as though it had been shattered. This was the battle between heaven and earth. As the ground was torn open, a vast number of souls flew out, all powerful individuals who had not been consumed by the tiger roar and refined. At the moment they soared into the air, Wang Lin's gaze flickered. He raised his soul banner, which immediately shook violently. The soul banner transformed into a massive black cloth that swept across the skies. Countless souls were sucked into it, turning into black mist, and rushed toward the yellow springs. Amidst the tremor of heaven and earth, the black-armored elder's face darkened. He cast a deep glance at Wang Lin and shook his head. The wind, rain, and thunder is the weakest of my divine arts. Next, you will see the Tao on my armor. The demonic Tao. The elder touched the chest plate of his armor, and instantly, it began to wriggle strangely. Streams of black demonic chi rapidly flew out from the armor, coalescing in front of him. A scythe, radiating with monstrous demonic flames, appeared before him. The demonic aura on this scythe was incredibly dense. It seemed as though it contained a set of rules that transcended heaven and earth. Its appearance immediately caused the surrounding space to crack and rapidly collapse. This scythe was not fully materialized, constantly shifting between the real and the ethereal, and there was a constant hissing sound as it transformed. The moment the scythe appeared, the elder's face contorted in pain, as if enduring unimaginable torment. From the center of his forehead, the demonic figure that had previously entered his body, growing a single horn, gradually emerged. Its expression was in stark contrast to the elders. It appeared utterly at ease. The demonic figure fully emerged from the elder's forehead, turning into black smoke and entering the scythe. In that instant, the scythe seemed to come alive, flashing forward directly at Wang Lin. Above in the sky, the yellow springs and the storm of wind, rain, and thunder continued to clash. The sound of thunder echoed through the heavens while the scythe raced toward Wang Lin, leaving behind a long trail of demonic flames. Wang Lin's gaze locked onto the scythe. He raised his right hand, and at his fingertip, the sword chi of sword venerable Ling Tianho condensed. Ling Tianho, known for his love of swords, had forged 4 miniature realms to refine them into 4 sword gods. He was a legendary figure on the Destiny Star, renowned alongside Tian Yunzi as a master of divine arts. His sword chi was beyond imagination. With the fusion of the demonic soul, this scythe transformed into the demonic blade, imbued with the power of the demonic Tao. Ling Tianho's sword chi clashed with the demonic blade imbued with the demonic path. Which was stronger? No one knew. Wang Lin's index finger flickered with sword radiance, and Ling Tianho's sword chi howled out from his fingertip. The sword chi was overwhelming. As soon as it appeared, the heavens and earth seemed to pause. In that moment, time itself seemed to stop flowing. Even the divine powers of the yellow springs, along with the wind, rain, and thunder, dimmed in response. Once the sword radiance emerged, the entire world was filled with sword chi. The intensity of the sword chi was so strong that the yellow springs in the sky began to spiral backward, directly merging into Wang Lin's body. The 130,000 slaughter chi within him collapsed, and the soul of the yellow springs within him transformed from 1 into 1 billion. The divine powers of wind, rain, and thunder were the same. The black thunder shattered in an instant, countless raindrops and the electric sparks within them disintegrated. Even the wind vortex above was pierced by the sword chi and collapsed instantly. Once the sword radiance appeared, any divine power in its path had no choice but to step aside. None could rival its momentum. This, indeed, was the way of Ling Tianho contained within the sword radiance. Domineering. Ling Tianho lived with pride, walking through the world with the way of domination. Within his sword chi, this domineering force was, in essence, heavenly might. The demonic shadow on the demonic blade appeared with a solemn expression. The blade flashed, transforming into black radiance, charging straight toward Wang Lin. The sword chi spread out, carrying the way of domination, sweeping forward with a single slash. The instant the demonic blade and sword chi neared, behind the sword chi, it seemed as if Ling Tianho's figure materialized. Similarly, behind the demonic blade, a gigantic demonic shadow with a single horn grew, forming before them. At the moment of their collision, the earth split apart. A crack appeared, dividing the ground into 2 halves, creating a rapidly expanding chasm. The clouds in the sky vanished, and at that moment, the entire sky darkened. The demonic shadow behind the demonic blade revealed an expression of reluctance before dissipating. In that moment, the demonic blade shattered. Ling Tianho's sword chi dimmed, with only a glimmer of golden radiance flickering. But even that tiny glimmer contained the way of Ling Tianho. When the demonic blade shattered, the remaining sword chi swept forward, heading straight for the Black Pagoda. As Wang Lin unleashed Ling Tianho's sword chi, he immediately retreated without hesitation. He had to retreat. After regaining his senses, Wang Lin felt a lingering fear. If he allowed the madness to consume his mind and forced his way into that tower, he would undoubtedly die. Just moments ago, under the direct gaze of the black-armored elder, he could not retreat. But now, with the sword chi released, it was the perfect time to withdraw. At the moment the demonic blade shattered, the black-armored elder spat out a mouthful of blood, his body weakening. Seeing Wang Lin retreat, he gritted his teeth and was about to chase, but then abruptly halted, his expression changing drastically as he turned and rushed straight for the sword chi. Because that sword chi was heading directly for the Black Pagoda. He understood the importance of this tower to the demonic servants. Though the elder's speed was fast, the remaining sword chi was even faster. In the blink of an eye, it reached the Black Pagoda. Just then, a cold snort echoed from within the pagoda, causing the sword chi to tremble but not dissipate. The overwhelming might contained within it allowed the sword chi to pierce through the force behind the snort, landing on the Black Pagoda. A soft hum came from within the Black Pagoda. At the same time, the pagoda trembled. Though it did not collapse, cracks appeared within the structure. Such powerful sword chi. The one who unleashed this sword chi is even stronger than I was at my peak. Seeing the sword chi dissipate and the black pagoda not crumble, the black-armored elder sighed in relief. But just then, a dense demonic aura poured from the black pagoda into the elder's body. The armor on his body immediately began to glow with an eerie light. His body expanded instantly, growing several times larger, and he became a giant over 10 meters tall. His armor also grew, and a black horn emerged from his forehead, exuding a chilling aura. At this moment, the elder was no longer human. He let out a painful roar, turning swiftly to face Wang Lin, who was retreating rapidly. Cold light flashed in his eyes. "Little bastard, let's see where you can run," he growled, stepping forward, chasing after him. Success or failure lies in the ascension fruit. Wang Lin sighed inwardly, his gaze flashing as he thought, "It's now or never." He slapped his storage pouch with his right hand, and a wax pill appeared in his palm. The pill was inscribed with countless runes that flickered ominously with each beat of Wang Lin's heart. Grinding his teeth, Wang Lin split his divine sense, sending a surge into his storage pouch. He quickly scanned it, pinpointing a small ball sealed by countless restriction seals. With his divine sense, he broke through the seals and entered. Inside the sealed ball, Yao Shishue's face was flushed, sweat pouring from her body. Her expression was a strange mix of pain and pleasure, with glimpses of humiliation and struggle flashing across her face. "Yao Shishue, tell me the method to use the blood soul pill. If you don't, I will crush this storage pouch before I die, and you will dissolve into nothingness, remaining in this state until your lifespan is extinguished." Wang Lin's divine sense entered Yao Shishue's consciousness like a thunderbolt, instantly waking her up. But immediately she began to struggle, the strange sensations from the peculiar restrictions on her body pushing her to the brink of collapse. Unlock the restriction." "I will tell you." Yao Shishue struggled and said. She would rather tell Wang Lin everything than endure such torture any longer. Wang Lin's divine sense swept over Yao Shishue, and immediately the restriction on her disappeared. Yao Shishue sighed in relief. Although the redness in her face remained, without the source of her torment, she immediately felt much lighter. She had never seen Wang Lin this anxious. Her eyes shifted, and she was about to negotiate. Wang Lin split his divine sense into two. One entered the storage pouch, while the other remained inside his body. At this moment, the black-armored elder behind him took a step forward and quickly closed the distance. Wang Lin's eyes gleamed coldly, and a battle axe immediately flew out from the storage pouch. This battle axe was an item of the giant demon clan. Wang Lin took it out and suddenly threw it, shouting, "Explode." The battle axe shook and exploded with a deafening roar, forming a massive storm. The black-armored elder frowned slightly, snorted, and with a flick of his sleeve, the storm from the shattered battle axe dissipated instantly. Within the storage pouch, Wang Lin shouted, "Tell me, or not." His divine sense moved, and the restriction reappeared. If she didn't speak, he was prepared to let her struggle with the pain again. Yao Shishue's face was still crimson, but her eyes were filled with fear. She looked at the restriction, and without hesitation, she immediately revealed the method to use the blood soul pill. At this moment, outside, the black-armored elder swiped the storm away, and with his right hand extended, he grabbed toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's divine sense asked again within the storage pouch, then quickly retracted and entered his body. He squeezed the blood soul pill in his hand, crushing the wax pill, and a drop of blue blood flew out. Wang Lin didn't hesitate. He bit his fingertip, pressing out fresh blood, which turned into a complex symbol in the void. After the symbol appeared, it immediately merged with the blue blood. Wang Lin quickly grabbed the symbol and pressed it to his forehead. At this moment, the black-armored elder, now a giant 3 zhang tall, was almost upon him. The symbol in Wang Lin's forehead immediately began to ooze out. With a flick from Wang Lin, it flew 1,000 miles away, dissipating between heaven and earth. Having done all this, Wang Lin abruptly turned around. The clarity in his eyes instantly vanished, replaced by the frenzied battle intent and murderous aura from the ascension fruit. "Old man, die." In his madness, Wang Lin's eyes turned bloodshot, and with a sinister roar, he charged toward the elder without retreating, but instead, advancing directly toward him. As he charged, a burst of flames suddenly erupted from his body, flames swirling around him like thick, intense fire. The black-armored elder's expression changed in an instant. He began to retreat, then retreated again. "Are you crazy?" The elder's eyes showed a look of shock. Self-explosion. The self-explosion of a questioning realm cultivator. Its power was something even the elder was unwilling to face directly. Inside Wang Lin's mind, the strange power of the ascension fruit filled him, and he was already in a frenzy. His primordial spirit was burning, and especially those 4 drops of immortal liquid inside him, which began to boil as his primordial spirit burned. Wang Lin's figure resembled a shooting star, heading straight for the elder. The elder's expression changed, and he retreated again and again. Explode. The flames all over Wang Lin's body blazed intensely. He stared at the elder, and his body was instantly torn apart by the immortal power within him, transforming into an unimaginable force that swept across. If it had been the usual self-explosion of a questioning realm cultivator, the elder would have been injured but not killed. But with 4 drops of immortal liquid in Wang Lin's body, the difference was like heaven and earth. The self-explosion's power rampaged, and the elder's body was hit first, immediately spitting out a mouthful of blood. His armor turned into fine threads, which quickly solidified into a shield in front of him, trying to resist the explosion's force. However, the shield lasted only 3 breaths before it immediately morphed into a black demon shadow. It leaped away from the elder and flew toward the black pagoda. Without the protection of the armor shield, the elder's body was instantly engulfed by the self-explosion's force and collapsed. As Wang Lin disintegrated in the explosion, he punched toward the black pagoda in the distance. This punch was formed from his Tao concept, life, primordial spirit, and even contained the ancient god's will from his true form. All of these forces were unleashed as his body disintegrated. The punch became a violent wind, racing toward the black pagoda. With a tremor, the cracks left by the Ling Tianho's sword chi spread across it, and within moments, the entire black pagoda collapsed. In midair, a piece of armor missing a bracer floated quietly. Its faint glow flashed, and a divine sense surged from within. You dare destroy my demon tower? Even if you have a connection to him, I will still kill you. The demon tower was an important magical artifact for the spread of this armor's divine sense. Without the demon tower, his divine sense could no longer sweep across most of the demon spirit land. The ground where the demon tower once stood revealed a black formation. Within the formation, a figure sat cross-legged. This person had long hair flowing in the air, and purple golden lines ran across their body. At this moment, the armor in midair fell, transforming into black lines that wrapped around this person. In the blink of an eye, the armor was donned on his body. At that moment, the giant man opened his eyes. 1,000 miles away, a drop of blue blood appeared in the void. The moment it appeared, it immediately sped away. As it flew, it gradually changed, eventually forming the figure of Wang Lin. The figure materialized from countless distances and headed straight for the imperial capital Sky Demon City. After the blood soul pill absorbed a trace of the soul essence and blood, it could exert its effect in a very short time. In the instant of death, anything connected to its soul essence would merge into the void. After revival, the blood soul power would allow the person to retrieve anything linked to their soul essence from the void. This was exactly what happened to Yao Shixue. Tian Yunzi had once given Wang Lin a life-saving artifact, but this artifact could only withstand the power of a late-stage ascension cultivator at most. The black-armored elder, whose avatar was 3 zhang tall, although his cultivation was equivalent to a late-stage ascension cultivator, his true power, in Wang Lin's view, far surpassed that. Moreover, there was the strange presence within the black pagoda. In this case, even if the artifact was used, Wang Lin knew his life would not be guaranteed. So, in a moment of thought, Wang Lin made the decision to take a gamble with the blood soul pill. His target was the being within the black pagoda. This person was too powerful, and after Wang Lin regained consciousness, his heart raced as he recalled the journey. In the divine sense attacks from the being inside the black pagoda, if not for the stimulation of the ascension fruit, he would have died countless times. He couldn't afford to rely on the ascension fruit to stimulate his soul essence for the remaining 400 years in this land of demonic spirits. If he kept using it, he'd fall into madness long before anyone could kill him, losing his sanity completely. Thus, he had to take this risk. If he didn't severely injure or kill the being inside the black pagoda, no matter how far he fled, even using the great teleportation technique, he would never escape its divine sense attacks. Once the effect of the ascension fruit wore off, the being inside the black pagoda would unleash its divine sense again, and Wang Lin knew he would certainly die. That being inside the black pagoda had never come out, obviously needing to stay inside the tower. This further solidified Wang Lin's determination. At this moment, he used teleportation and headed straight for Sky Demon City. He had to make 2 preparations. The first one was already completed. The second was to seek help from the ancient demon. The agreement from 10 years ago. I was delayed by ascension, but now, 10 years have passed. The matter of that day is of great importance. I believe that the ancient demon won't go back on the promise, Wang Lin thought to himself, increasing his speed. The residual power of the ascension fruit was still in his soul essence. Though it would be easy to erase this effect now that he was fully conscious, Wang Lin didn't act. He wanted to keep the effect of the ascension fruit in case the Black Pagoda wasn't the key. If the being inside the tower could still attack with divine sense, he'd be ready. If that's the case, I might have to prepare to live as an outlaw in the future, Wang Lin sighed inwardly. He had no grudge against the being inside the Black Pagoda. It was that being who had provoked him, but in the world of cultivation, there was no right or wrong, only strength and weakness. After teleporting, Wang Lin was surprised to find that his immortal power, once depleted, was instantly replenished. This allowed him to use the Great Teleportation Technique multiple times. The Great Teleportation Technique was the most draining technique of immortal power. In the past, after using it, Wang Lin would have to use Immortal Jade to restore his power. But now, he had no such concerns. As soon as he teleported, he could immediately cast the technique again. It must be the 4 drops of immortal liquid that fused into my body when I self-exploded. After I revived, I exist within my body in a strange manner. Wang Lin quickly analyzed this, then stopped thinking about it. With multiple uses of the Great Teleportation Technique, the capital of Sky Demon Province was already within reach. Wang Lin was racing forward at a speed he had never experienced before. Unfortunately, after being stimulated by the Ascension Fruit, I lost my sanity. Otherwise, the sword chi from Zishu would never have been left behind. But I remember where Zishu's corpse is. I wonder if the sword chi is still within it if I rush back. Wang Lin's eyes flashed, a thought crossing his mind. However, it wasn't the time to go to Fire Demon County. With just one final use of the Great Teleportation Technique, he could reach the capital of Sky Demon Province. Just as Wang Lin was about to step forward, suddenly, a furious roar came from behind him. I'll see where you can run to. A figure, dressed in armor, appeared 1,000 feet behind Wang Lin. This man had a dignified appearance, his eyes gleaming with cold light, and a vast aura of demonic power surrounded him. Wang Lin's face changed, and he took a step forward. Just as his body disappeared, he glanced back at the armored figure, and this glance nearly made him cry out in shock. Ling Tianho. The armored figure's appearance was shockingly similar to that of Sword Venerable Ling Tianho. Wang Lin vanished, appearing 100 miles outside the ancient demon city. His expression was dark, his eyes flashing. He murmured, "It's not Ling Tianho. Though this person looks similar, he's younger. Moreover, he doesn't have Ling Tianho's aura. His appearance isn't exactly the same, only somewhat similar. Could it be?" At that moment, the armored giant appeared out of thin air, stepping forward. He fixed his gaze on Wang Lin and said in a deep voice, "Why aren't you running anymore?" As he spoke, his large hand reached forward, and 5 streams of demonic energy filled his fingertips. "Ling Tianho, who are you?" Wang Lin's eyes flickered as he suddenly asked. The giant paused, and a momentary look of confusion flashed in his demonic eyes. Ling Tianho, that name, so familiar. Wang Lin quickly retreated, a cold glint flashing in his eyes as he shouted, "Great Luo Sword Sect, Sword Venerable Ling Tianho. Great Luo Sword Sect." Sword Venerable. The confusion in the giant's eyes deepened, and then a look of struggle appeared. Just then, a shadow of a demonic soul suddenly appeared at the center of his forehead. This soul glared fiercely at Wang Lin and let out a piercing screech. With that sound, the confusion in the giant's eyes immediately vanished, replaced by the flames of demonic rage. "Ancient demon!" Wang Lin quickly stepped back and shouted. A powerful will suddenly swept out from Celestial Demon City, descending directly in front of Wang Lin. "You came 10 years too late." The voice of the ancient demon echoed in Wang Lin's ears. "I'll borrow your blood." As the voice faded, blood began to pour out of every pore in Wang Lin's body, and these bloodstains quickly formed into a humanoid shape. The will of the ancient demon descended upon it. Wang Lin's body staggered, blood draining from him. His face turned pale, and he immediately took out a pill and swallowed it. He sat cross-legged on the ground, beginning to meditate and circulate his energy. The demonic soul on the giant's forehead stared at the blood shadow in front of Wang Lin. In a strange language, it screeched, "Barrow, dare you stand in my way?" The blood shadow wriggled and transformed into a form with 2 horns on its head. A strange glint radiated from its eyes as it looked at the demonic soul on the giant's forehead and calmly said, "You were just one of the 9 scattered demons under the ancient demon's command. How could I not stop you?" Ancient God language. Wang Lin opened his eyes slightly, revealing a thoughtful expression. He took a step forward, and immediately a massive demonic soul shadow appeared behind him. The ancient demon, formed from Wang Lin's blood, flickered with its gaze. Its right hand casually waved, and a mist of demon energy rose from the ground, engulfing the giant and wrapping him in thick fog, which shot upward into the sky. At the same time, a demonic veil descended from the heavens, enveloping the entire celestial demon city. Outside the veil, in the thick mist, the ancient demon and the rogue demon began a fierce battle. Thunderous roars echoed from the sky, and at times, demonic flames surged while the air was filled with the power of demonic energy. Sitting cross-legged on the ground, Wang Lin continued his meditation, his sharp eyes gazing intently at the sky. His gaze seemed to penetrate the dense fog, directly witnessing the battle within. This scene stirred Wang Lin's heart. The divine arts of the ancient demon and the demonic attacks from the rogue demon possessed the power to reshape the world. These divine techniques, in Wang Lin's eyes, seemed to awaken the long-buried memories of ancient god techniques from the memories of 2C. Wang Lin's eyes grew brighter as he watched. Abandoning his meditation, his hands instinctively rose, and the ancestral memory of 2C's teachings emerged. He began forming strange hand seals one after another. These seals had no offensive power, they were only symbolic. However, at this moment, a peculiar force surged from a small, nearly abandoned star, countless miles away from the demon spirit land in the East Sea Gate. On that small star, the red-haired figure of the true body suddenly opened his eyes, and within his gaze was a deepness akin to the vastness of the starry sky. In the moment he opened his eyes, his hands rose, and the hand seals he formed moved accordingly. His red hair swirled, and the starry glow between his brows flickered. As he changed his hand seals, the glow intensified. Suddenly, his hands spread wide, and he murmured, "Gather." As the word left his lips, the small star he resided on shook violently. Waves of spiritual energy surged from the depths of the ground and rushed toward his body, being absorbed into him. At the same time, in the demon spirit land, Wang Lin made the same gesture. His eyes fixed on the mist in the sky, and a faint smile slowly appeared on his lips. The battle between the ancient demon and the rogue demon has helped me comprehend some of the ancient god techniques. The benefits my true body has gained are immeasurable. This battle lasted for 3 days. Over these 3 days, the blood Wang Lin had lost was replenished as his immortal energy circulated, restoring his bone marrow and blood production. With the flow of his immortal energy, he reached the peak of his power. His eyes never left the sky. His right hand formed a seal, and the ground beneath him suddenly transformed into the river of the netherworld. Within it, severed limbs and broken arms were scattered, and the sounds of wailing echoed throughout. Rogue demon. Although I, Wang Lin, am weak, I am not someone you can crush at will. Wang Lin slapped his storage pouch, and the soul banner appeared in his hand. He threw it into the river of the netherworld. As the soul banner entered the river of the netherworld, billions of souls scattered out. Wang Lin's eyes gleamed with cold light as he took out the forbidden banner from the storage pouch. This banner had been damaged during the heavenly tribulation, with many of its restrictions shattered. Although only a small part of it remained, Wang Lin still tossed it into the netherworld. Next came the immortal sword. Although Su Ligua was extremely reluctant, he dared not refuse at that moment. His heart sighed repeatedly as he thought, "Well, it doesn't matter now that we've returned to Celestial Demon City. That little beauty has been waiting for me for 10 years. I wonder if she's found someone else." With these thoughts, Su Ligua was tossed into the netherworld by Wang Lin, along with the crescent blade. Then came the Kunji whip, the sword sheath, and the Muyang sword. Finally, aside from the divine arrow card and the mysterious painting scroll, Wang Lin threw almost all the magical artifacts he could retrieve from his storage pouch into the netherworld. Countless magical artifacts mixed together, forming a chaotic yet immensely powerful force within the netherworld. Wang Lin took a deep breath, touched his forehead, and 1,300,000 slaughter chi transformed into 1,300,000 seals of life, which instantly spread across his body, forming a protective shield. His gaze never left the air above, and in that instant his eyes narrowed. Without hesitation, he soared into the air, reaching down with his right hand, and immediately extracted the netherworld from the ground. It continued to condense until it turned into a yellow light. Within this yellow light were not only all Wang Lin's magical artifacts, but also his Tao. With the yellow light in tow, Wang Lin rushed out. At that moment, in the thick mist of the sky, the large man's armor was severely damaged, and he was retreating step by step. The demonic flames in his eyes dimmed, and wild roars echoed from his mouth. Wang Lin, now transformed into an ancient demon with bloodline power, his eyes flashing with demonic radiance, howled as he unleashed one divine technique after another. The large man spat a mouthful of blood from the corner of his mouth and staggered back. Die, the ancient demon bellowed. His entire shadow quickly shrank into his blood body, turning into a demonic light that enveloped the large man. Under this demonic light, the large man's magic soul reappeared on his forehead. It howled sharply, and waves of ripples spread out wildly. Under these ripples, the demonic light surrounding the large man paused for a moment. The magic soul shot a venomous glance at the ancient demon before diving back into the large man's forehead. At the same time, the large man suddenly moved backward, attempting to escape. Wang Lin had been waiting for this moment. He shot upward like a meteor, his right hand glowing with yellow light. In an instant, he charged into the thick mist, heading straight for the large man, who was retreating in an attempt to get out of the range of the ancient demon's demonic light. As he retreated, the large man noticed Wang Lin's arrival. A trace of disdain flickered in his eyes. He didn't care about Wang Lin and casually slapped his right hand toward him. With this slap, clouds and winds stirred. The 1,300,000 seals of life around Wang Lin instantly shattered, one after another. 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, 80,000. During this process, Wang Lin's eyes flashed with a cold light. Even as the last of his seals of life shattered, he arrived beside the large man. His right hand flicked out, and the yellow light shot forward without hesitation. The large man snorted coldly, raising his right fist to strike the yellow light, trying to disperse it. However, the moment his fist collided with the yellow light, his face instantly changed. The yellow light contained an overwhelming amount of energy, fused with his divine sense and Tao concept, forming a force that could threaten him. Normally, it might not be a threat, but after being injured in his battle with the ancient demon and having lost his demon tower, the large man's divine sense could only remain fixed within his armor and could not spread out. Many divine techniques were now beyond his reach. The yellow light erupted, and the large man's body instinctively hesitated. This hesitation allowed the ancient demon's light to catch up, engulfing him completely. This demonic light was a powerful divine technique of the ancient demon. It could refine all living beings in the world, and under its influence, the large man groaned in agony. His body immediately began to emit a vast amount of demonic energy. As soon as the demonic energy was released, it was instantly refined, leaving nothing behind. Barrow, if you kill me, my master will never let you go. The magic soul on the large man's forehead reappeared, shrieking. At the same time, it broke free from the large man's forehead and turned into a demonic shadow that fused into the armor. In an instant, the armor slipped off the large man's body, covered in dense demonic energy, and tried to break free from the demonic light. The rogue demon's survival instinct was to preserve the armor. Although his physical body had been discarded, as long as the armor remained intact, he could recover. Worst case, he could find another body to possess. Without a body, the magic soul believed that with its divine powers, it could escape. The large man lost his armor, and under the demonic light's influence, his entire body rotted. His eyes dimmed, and he fell from the air. The armor, now wrapped in demonic energy, broke free from the demonic light after being relentlessly refined and finally managed to escape. A surge of joy filled his heart. Once he broke free, he could quickly use his divine abilities to escape. However, just as the joy appeared, it was immediately suppressed. Wang Lin's right hand, like lightning, grabbed onto the armor the moment it was about to burst forth. Wang Lin's nature was one of vengefulness. Having meticulously set up a heavy trap earlier, he would not let this so-called rogue demon escape at the last moment. If this person managed to flee today, Wang Lin would face his brutal retaliation in the future, unless he hid forever within the celestial demon city and never ventured out. Moreover, Wang Lin was certain that the ancient demon would act to assist him at the critical moment. Otherwise, this ancient demon wouldn't have revealed himself earlier. With Wang Lin's calculating mind, he saw through these matters very clearly. The instant his right hand grabbed the armor, Wang Lin had already anticipated that the demon's soul would soon enter the body. The lingering power of the ascension fruit within his primordial spirit was immediately activated. In an instant, Wang Lin's eyes turned bloodshot, and he was overwhelmed by an extreme madness. "You can't escape." Wang Lin's voice suddenly erupted. His right hand pulled back, yanking the armor toward him. The demon's soul on the armor transformed, glaring viciously at Wang Lin, letting out a sharp scream. Its body surged forward, diving into Wang Lin's body, frantically charging toward his primordial spirit. At the same time, the armor transformed into black threads and immediately wrapped around Wang Lin, turning into a set of armor on his body. Now, Wang Lin was clad in black armor, his eyes glowing red, and his hair moving as if blown by wind. Within his primordial spirit, the power of the ascension fruit caused his full potential to erupt. He engaged in a battle with the demon's soul, which had lost much of its demonic aura. The demon radiance dissipated, transforming back into the blood shadow of the ancient demon. He glanced at Wang Lin with appreciation in his eyes and smiled. "Good strategy, stimulating the primordial spirit to resist the demon's soul. If I help you, I'll be aiding you. If I don't, then this previous battle was in vain, and these 3 days of effort would be for nothing. You've calculated that I will help you. Well, this is your fate. I will grant it to you." With that, the ancient demon grabbed Wang Lin and then, in a flash of demonic light, swept up the huge man, whose body was decayed but still alive, from the ground. They sped toward the dragon pool outside the celestial demon city.